I just want to say, this is one of the largest crowds we have ever seen to hang out and do this. The 109th year of lighting this Christmas tree, and there is not standing room to be found. Ladies and gentlemen, give yourselves a huge round of applause for making this the largest tree lighting in D-Town history. Santa Claus tonight? I think we have some special guests. We are ready for some magic.
That's exciting. Okay, what if we start with a pretty hard song, and then we'll end with one that everybody will know. They'll be actual real-life people. It'll be totally strange. Wow, am I so ready for this change? 'Cause for the first time in forever, there'll be music, there'll be light. For the first time in forever, I'll be dancing through the night. Don't know if I'm elated or gassy, but I'm somewhere in that zone. 'Cause for the first time in forever, I won't be alone. Oh my goodness.
The whole town wants to know,
Yes, well, what is it, pal?
why haven't you taken one gift? Is it because you love us now and you've changed your mind and now this is the greatest town in history?
That couldn't be further from the truth. Although I really find Doylestown to be charming, I've got to say, I do really like you people.
Santa Claus! Santa Claus! Santa Claus!
Santa, how are you?
Outstanding! What a great night! Santa just loves the crowd. Wow! I have to say, this is such a fantastic night. Let's hear it, everybody. Merry Christmas!
All right, you get up there. You get up in that loader so we can do this, Santa. We're going to turn the lights off. All right, so that light's going to go off. It's going to get dark for a second, but 5,000 LED lights are going to fire on and illuminate this town like never before. All right, there's one light. We got one more to go. Oh, this is wonderful. Santa, are you ready, sir?
We're ready!
Santa, it's on your call, sir.
Okay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yay! Beautiful! Santa, how good does it look from up there?
It looks beautiful. What a beautiful tree.
Everybody want to say thank you to Santa on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
You're welcome.
Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you.
Open up the hole. We're coming through. Coming through.
I want to thank you guys for all coming out tonight. It has been such a marvelous evening. The largest we've ever had in this town. Thanks to all of you guys. And from the bottom of all our hearts, thank you for making this possible.
That's crazy. I don't expect it.
We can do that, yes. We can.
The call to order the Borough Council meeting for Monday, November 18th. Everyone can please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance. We do not have any special presentations tonight. I will look for a motion to approve the minutes from our October 21st, 2024 council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Mr. Kinney. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none, any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The mayor is not here tonight, but she does have a report, and she's asked me to read that for her. I will do that now. Excuse me. The presidential election is finally over. For most of us, regardless of political views, it is a relief. Leading up to the election, the borough had visitors from New York and New Jersey come to our Saturday farmers market and campaign for their candidates in a highly visible fashion with loud broadcasts. Many residents found it upsetting. Campaign signs were stolen and vandalized. And on Election Day, inflammatory signage appeared at one of our polls. First, let me say your mayor and borough council believe that people holding public office should act in a respectful, professional manner, not just for some people, but for the people we serve. We serve all residents of Doylestown Borough. Our greatest strength is the people who live here. Our residents, businesses, nonprofits, cultural and religious institutions, borough staff all strive for diversity, equity, inclusion, and the good of the whole. Our promise for a better future depends on our capacity to treat one another with civility and mutual respect. Our opportunity to build an even stronger community rests with our ability to talk with each other regardless of differing views. As for your mayor and council, we need to continue the work that is important to the well-being and unity of our community: safe streets, safe water supply, parks, zoning, youth activities, events, budgets, our schools, our comprehensive plan, potholes, issues not necessarily glamorous, but critical to the vibrance and cohesiveness of our borough. It is time to refocus on what is important to our community. To be effective, we listen to everyone. This is an approach we have always used and should rededicate ourselves to doing so. That concludes the mayor's report. Public safety, Mr. Frederick, do you have any?
Yes, Mr. President. Consideration of ordinance number 2024-7, creating a 2-hour parking limitation on certain portions of Memorial Drive. Attached, please find ordinance number 2024-7, which creates a 5-space, 2-hour limit parking zone from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Monday through Friday on the east side of Memorial Drive, just north of McFarland Lane. The restriction will prohibit students from parking there all day as they currently do, allowing parking and track users access to the parking. Council authorized the drafting and advertisement of this ordinance at their meeting prior on October 14th, 2024. The ordinance has since been properly advertised. The Public Safety Committee recommends that council adopt ordinance number 2024-7. If council wishes to follow the recommendation, it can do so by motion, and I so move.
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Kinney, I believe, again.
Yes, sorry.
Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Joe?
Oh, and that's sorry, Mr. President, you have in your packet the fire company report, and that is the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Public Works and Administration, Mr. Brown, what do you have for us tonight?
We did not meet this past month, but I will, of course, give out our normal shout out to our Public Works team for getting the town ready for the holiday events and, of course, our annual leaf pickup. John, do you have anything to add?
No, leaf collection is on schedule. At this time of year, that's all anybody cares about as far as leaf collection goes. We've just started our second time around this morning.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Community and Government Affairs, Mr. Bell, do you have anything for us tonight?
Thank you, Mr. President. Community and Government Affairs did not meet. We have no matters before council. I will remind everyone that November 29th is the Discover Doylestown Santa tree lighting, starting at around 6:30. Always a great event. Hope to see you all there. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Ms. Jarrett, Zoning and Planning, what do you have for us tonight?
We did meet this month, of course. First, we have the Zoning Hearing Board report, which I will hand over to Ms. Highland to give us a rundown on.
Thank you, Ms. Jarrett. The Zoning Hearing Board will meet later this week. They've got a lengthy agenda this month. The first application on the agenda is for 23 East Hill Drive. Rocco McCurry would like to put an addition onto his home. It's a corner property, and he is requesting front yard setback on the East Street side of the property. Second is 300 to 360 North Broad Street. Haywood Becker is requesting a special exception to expand the existing dog facility that's already there. They do want to include boarding with this proposal. 278 West Oakland, whoops, sorry about that. 278 West Oakland, the Kremsers are proposing a dormer towards the back of the house, and that will allow them to expand onto the third floor, and they are requesting dimensional relief from the floor area ratio requirements. 239 West Court Street, Mark Winterbottom is requesting floor area ratio relief that will enable a small addition to the second floor of the home. And finally, we've got Central Bucks School District is requesting dimensional relief to enable additions to CB West. There's an addition proposed along the school lane side of the building, and then an addition proposed within one of the courtyards.
Thank you, Ms. Highland.
Thank you.
Next up, we had the HARB report, which is, our HARB recommendations. At its regular monthly meeting, the Borough of Doylestown's Historical and Architectural Review Board, HARB, recommended the following. For a sign application, it was 235 East State Street for a sign for Our Lady of Mount Carmel Church. HARB recommended that the application for a certificate of appropriateness be approved as presented. Building applications, 154 through 156 West Oakland Avenue for color selection. The HARB recommended that the application for a certificate of appropriateness be approved with the following conditions. The siding will be smooth hardy board in the color midnight blue on the conservatory, and the sunroom conservatory window color is iron ore. Sierra Pacific in peppered steel for other windows, and the garage doors and panelized doors are mahogany. The carriage house trim will be drift of mist, and the shutters on the house will be Gray's Harbor. The garage doors will be wood with a walnut finish. The roof will be synthetic slate in the color midnight gray with an antique bronze color metal standing seam roof or landmark pewter wood asphalt shingle alternative. There will only be down lights on the structure. Also, just as a note, generally the HARB does not approve paint colors. The reason color was an issue with this one is that it's material selection. Next, we have 132 Cottage Street for a second floor deck, excuse me. The HARB recommended that the application for a certificate of appropriateness be approved with the following conditions. The composite decking will be in the color of silverwood, and the door will be fiberglass. The vinyl is to be a matte finish, and the skirting board will be in line with the roof of the first floor, and the railings will align with the posts on the corner. The posts will be 6-inch by 6-inch and painted or stained. The Zoning and Planning Committee recommends that Council approve the applications in accordance with HARB's recommendation. The Council can follow the Committee's recommendation by motion, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Mr. Levrone, I think it was. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
In addition to the code enforcement and building inspection report in the packet, that concludes my report.
I thank you, Ms. Jarrett. Environment and Rec, Ms. Wyckoff, what do you have for us?
Thank you. We did not meet last month, and so I have no report. Thanks.
Thank you. Water Utility, Mr. Lavrone.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Water Utility Committee met last Tuesday with a busy agenda. And one of the things that we looked at in the operations report was the continued presence of PFAS chemicals in our wells. But the good news is that Penvest grant application was received, where we're asking for a grant to correct those problems with the PFAS in the wells. And then the other thing that was front and center was the discussion of the drought situation. And we had previously enacted, or not enacted, but set in motion voluntary water restrictions in the borough. But according to our chief water operator, Jeremy Matoso, that had not done much to sort of beat out the winning drought that we've been having for the last 6 weeks. So we discussed doing the next level of mandatory conservation measures, and I will address that under new business, and I'll come back to that later. And then, and we did roll out in conjunction with Doylestown Township last Thursday. Hopefully everybody saw it on all the various ways that we got it out. I guess one of the few people that still have landlines got a reverse 911 call, which comes through the county emergency management, saying that those restrictions were in effect. So I'll talk more about that later. And I think that is it for the main report on the meeting, and I will come back under new business. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Lavrone. Ms. Popkin, Finance and Pension.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have a hefty agenda under Finance. We've been working on the budget for 2025, and we have 6 items. And the first item is the resolution number 2024-7. This is the 2024 local state account statewide grant program for Mercer Museum. And in your packet, you'll find attached the above referenced resolution authorizing the submission of a statewide local share assessment grant application. This is on behalf of the Bucks County Historical Society for Mercer Museum. The grant proceeds will be used to modernize the museum's exterior lighting at a maximum cost of $493,932.25. The grant program requires a municipal applicant. The Bucks County Historical Society will not be responsible for all of the project costs, with the borough to be reimbursed for any administrative costs. Oh, no.
Maybe they will be responsible.
Will be responsible, sorry, for all project costs, with the borough to be reimbursed for any administration costs. As confirmed by the borough solicitor, a separate agreement between the borough and Bucks County Historical Society confirming this would be executed as part of the program, should the application be successful. The Finance Committee has reviewed this resolution and is recommending approval. And if council wishes to follow the recommendation of the committee, it can do so by motion, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Ms. Jarrett, I think it was. Yeah. I'm starting to recognize voices out of questions or comments from any members of council?
Just to point out that we approved a similar resolution exactly 1 year ago tonight for an elevator upgrade, and that application was successful. The installation was carried out successfully, and everything went very smoothly. Also want to point out that Corey Amsler from Bucks County Historical Society is here tonight if anybody has any questions of Corey with regard to this application.
Thank you for coming tonight. The next item is the adoption.
You didn't vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item is the adoption of the 2025 Central Bucks Regional Police Department budget. In your budget book, you will find the revised 2025 Central Bucks Regional Police Department's budget as approved and submitted for consideration by the Central Bucks Regional Police Commission. During the Joint Council Finance Budget Work Session held on November 14th, 2024, we recommended that Council approve the 2025 Central Bucks Regional Police Department budget as submitted, and if Council agrees with this recommendation, it may do so by motion, and I so move.
Second.
We had a second by Mr. Kinney. Any questions or comments from any members of council?
Just to point out and thank the chief and Caroline for their work, and that this budget increases 2.68% is all from 2024 to 2025. So nice work.
Any other questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item is the adoption of the 2025 preliminary budget. As part of your council packet, you have been provided the copy of the proposed 2025 preliminary budget. This preliminary budget is to be advertised and will be available for public inspection at Borough Hall and on the website at www.doylestownborough.net and the Doylestown Borough social media for a minimum of 10 days prior to the final budget adoption. Any changes that you wish to make can be made between now and the final budget adoption, which is scheduled for December 16th, 2024 at our council meeting. A budget message along with a copy of the budget summary has been prepared for the public and for the press. Once the preliminary budget is adopted and all changes are finalized, the 2025 budget books with schedules will be prepared and presented to council for our December meeting. If council wishes to adopt and authorize the advertisement of the proposed 2025 preliminary budget, it can do so by motion, and I so move.
Second.
Got a second by Mr. Kinney again, I think?
Yes.
Yeah. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
No tax increase.
Thank you. The next item is no tax increase. The authorization to advertise ordinance setting the 2025 real estate tax rate in conjunction with the adoption of the 2025 preliminary budget. Please see the attached copy of the above referenced ordinance. For the year 2025, the general purpose tax is 13.915 mils. The fire protection tax is 1.70 mils. The special road fund tax is 1.5 mils. The ambulance and rescue squad tax is 0.5 mils, and the debt service tax is 3.725 mils. This will give a total millage of 21.34 mils, where there is no increase to tax millage for 2025. And we're happy to announce that. If council wishes to authorize the advertisement of the ordinance, proposed ordinance, it can do so by motion, and I so move.
Second.
You have a motion and a second by Mr. Brown, I think it was.
Yes.
Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none, any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item is authorization to advertise ordinance providing for the regulation of water service. In conjunction with the adoption of the 2025 preliminary budget, please find the attached copy of the above-mentioned ordinance setting the water rates for 2025. If council wishes to authorize the advertisement of the proposed ordinance, it can do so by motion, and I so move.
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Kinney. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And one more item, and that's the finance report for our bills, and I'll turn that over to Ms. Brinker.
Thank you, Ms. Popkin. Everyone was provided a list of the accounts payable and also payroll for October. The total for all funds is $904,101.52.
Thank you, and I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Kinney. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. That's the end of my report, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. I'm up next with personnel. We have two items to address tonight.
Do I sign it?
On October 22nd and November 12th, the Personnel Committee met to consider the reappointment of members on various boards and commissions whose terms expire on December 31st, 2024. Each of these members have expressed a desire to return for another term. As a result of the aforementioned meetings, the committee is recommending a reappointment as follows. On the Building and Fire Board of Appeals for a 3-year term, Mr. Jay Stow. Environmental Advisory Council, a 3-year term for Dan Ford. Fannie Chapman Pool Board, 3-year terms for each for Lori Howard and Brian Lang. On the Historic and Architectural Review Board, a 4-year term, Mr. H. Andrew Happ. And Human Relations Commission, a 3-year term for Christopher Bakash and Frederick Stanzak. On the Park and Rec Board, a 5-year term for Molly Crotty. On the Vacancy Board, a 1-year term for Curtis Cowgill. And a Zoning Hearing Board, a 3-year term for Charles Polina. In addition, the following current board commission members are requesting transfer to fill vacancies on other boards. On the Environmental Advisory Council, a 3-year term for Jason Wood. On the Fannie Chapman Pool Board, a 3-year term for John West. And Historical and Architectural Review Board, a 4-year term for Brian Guerrero. If council wishes to reappoint the members as stated above, it may do so by motion, and I so move.
Second.
We have a second by Ms. Popkin. Any questions or comments from any members of the council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And now we have authorization to advertise board vacancies. On October 22nd and November 12th, 2024, the Personnel Committee met to consider vacancies on various volunteer boards. As a result of these meetings, the committee is recommending advertisement of the following vacancies. On Board Commission, the Environment Advisory Council, 1 vacancy for a 3-year term. On the HARB, the Historical and Architectural Review Board, 1 vacancy for a 4-year term. And then student board members, Fannie Chapman Pool Board, all of these are from May of 2025 through April of 2026. Fannie Chapman Pool Board, 1 vacancy. Historic and Architectural Review Board, 1 vacancy. Park and Rec Board, there are 2 vacancies. On the Shade Tree Commission, 1 vacancy. And for the junior council person, there is correction to the material that was handed out. It's 1 vacancy for next year, September 2025 through May of 2026. If council wishes to authorize the advertisement of the above vacancies, it may do so by motion, and I so move.
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Kinney. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That concludes the Personnel Committee. Let's see who's next. Professionals report. Mr. Doherty, do you have anything for us tonight?
Thank you. I have nothing tonight.
Solicitors report. Andrew, do you have anything for us tonight?
No report this evening.
Okay. Central Bucks Regional Police Department report. Chief Knott, do you have anything?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Okay. I do not have a president's report. Do we have any items of old business? Hearing none. Do we have any items of new business? I think, Mr. Lavrone, you're going to have something for us.
Yeah, Mr. President, I actually have 3 items of new business, 2 around water, and I'd like to give a report on the recent DART meeting that the mayor and I attended. But first, let me talk about since I was already talking about the water restrictions under my water report, Council received via email today a resolution, and I believe it's probably going to be Resolution 2024-9. I'm just guessing. Yeah. And this is the title of the resolution. A resolution of the Borough Council of the Borough of Doylestown establishing mandatory conservation measures for water customers pursuant to Chapter 26, quote-unquote, water, Section 112, quote-unquote, regulation of pumps. There's a bunch of whereases, well, full page of whereases, plus more on the second page. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, just for the record and for the public that's here, tell you what the specific water conservation measures are. It says, now therefore be it resolved, the Borough Council of Doylestown Borough, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, herein adopts the following restrictions with respect to water conservation. Number 1, adoption of specific water conservation measures. The borough adopts the following mandatory water conservation measures imposed on all residents, citizens, users, and ratepayers for the immediate suspension of the following actions or activities in order to reduce or eliminate any non-essential outside uses of water. And it goes from A to G. A is the use of hoses, sprinklers, or other means for sprinkling or watering of shrubbery, trees, lawns, grass, plants, vines, gardens, vegetables, flowers, or any other vegetation. B, the use of water for washing automobiles, trucks, trailers, trailer houses, or any other type of mobile equipment. C, the washing of streets, driveways, parking lots, service station, aprons, office buildings, exterior of homes, sidewalks, apartments, or other outdoor services. D, the operation of any ornamental fountain or other structures making a similar use of water. E, the use of water for filling swimming pools or wading pools. F, the use of water from fire hydrants for construction purposes or fire drills. And G, the use of water to flush a sewer line or sewer manhole. So those are the, what we also call Phase 2 restrictions on water use. And I believe that we're going to vote on this, right?
That's correct. This resolution will ratify the steps that were announced last week.
Last Thursday that I mentioned, yes.
Those mandatory restrictions that Mr. Lavrone just read are what was announced last week.
Okay, so I so move that the Borough Council adopts this resolution 2024-9.
Second.
We had a second by Ms. Jarrett, I believe.
That's correct.
Any questions or comments from any members of council?
Yeah, Mr. President, I just want to reiterate that the Commonwealth Drought Task Force, in conjunction with the Commonwealth Drought Coordinator, announced a drought watch on November 1st, 2024 for 33 counties. That includes Bucks County, which encouraged residents and businesses under the drought watch to begin voluntary conservation of non-essential water use. And if the drought conditions persist, the governor may declare a drought emergency leading to emergency water restrictions. We felt that it was prudent to do this and to impose mandatory restrictions because it's pretty obvious to anybody who drives around the area how dry it has been. I think it's been more than 50 days since we've had any kind of measurable precipitation. And even this week, there's rain potentially scheduled in the forecast, but it's not going to really make a dent. We are, I think, something in the range of 10 inches below the amount of rainfall that we had at this time last year. That's a significant deficit in rainfall. And so these measures are in my view, very much necessary, and, knowing that the people of this community, people are gonna do the right thing. And hopefully it'll help alleviate some of the pressures that's on the water system.
Also point out that any residents that want to look for some voluntary restrictions that can really help the situation, visit our website. There's a link on the front page. Give you some pointers, and certainly voluntary efforts at this point are appreciated as well, and may well be the difference between further mandatory measures.
Yes, and just so people know, Mr. Kinney, Mr. Brown, and Ms. Jarrett and I sit on the Water Utility Committee. So as Mr. Kinney pointed out, we had some in-depth discussions about the necessity for going to this next step, and we don't recommend it lightly to council.
I do have one question, if we could raise it. It's more for clarification purposes. Under the adoption of specific water conservation measures, item B, use of water for washing automobiles, trucks, trailers, trailer houses, et cetera, does that apply to the car wash businesses in town?
It does.
It does.
And we've spoken to all the car washes.
Wasn't clear from reading it whether it did or not.
We also gave them a heads up that this was coming, so.
Yeah, I think in the introductory statement there, and under number 1, adoption, in that first paragraph, it pretty much lists everybody without specifically calling out car washes, but I think that does cover it, so, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from any members of the council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and then the other thing that is under new business but applies to water is, and when I read the resolution, or when I read the introduction to the resolution, you'll understand why. This is resolution number 2024-8, authorizing a grant application for repainting and rehabilitation of the Spruce Street water tank. And this was in your packet. It did not come to the Water Committee in time for the meeting, but I'll read it. Attached, please find the above referenced resolution along with the project budget. The project, estimated at $866,800, calls for the repainting and rehabilitation of the Spruce Street water tank along the lines of the recently completed Maplewood water tank project. The grant opportunity was discovered too late for the November Water Utility Committee meeting, but comes with a November 30th, 2024 application deadline. It is therefore being forwarded directly to council. If council wishes to authorize the submission of the grant application, it can do so by a motion to adopt resolution number 2024-8, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Ms. Jarrett. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and then one additional item of new business is that the mayor and I attended the DART meeting last week. The DART committee meets every 6 to 8 weeks. And just a couple highlights from that. We were pleased to see that our state representative, Tim Brennan, and Representative Brian Monroe, who are in the 29th and 144th legislative districts that the DART services, sent a letter and asked for additional funding, and I'll just read a little bit of that. Bucks County Transport expanded its coverage in 2020 and 2023 with additional coverage planned for 2025. The PA Department of Community and Economic Development provides funding for the DART system expansion through 2026. To sustain expansion and increase coverage, Bucks County Transport Incorporated is requesting an additional $275,000 increase for an annual allocation of $1,027,000 to fund the Dart West and the Dart South routes beginning August 2026. And Bucks County Transport can meet the required funding match. And, it's very important to realize, just so you know, that you look at a chart like this and you see that all components of the DART system have increased from 2022 to 2023 to 2024. And those components include the main part of the Doylestown DART, the DART West, which heads west out of town, and the DART South, which started up in 2023, and the courthouse shuttle. Every one of those has increased ridership over the last 3 years. So, going for this grant to continue adequate and advanced, expanded service is really a good thing. And then lastly on that, one other important thing is that we in the borough are actually we have a couple people working on looking at a possible expansion of the main DART system within the borough, and I'll report more on that at a later date. Any questions on any of that DART stuff? Okay, that's the end of my report, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lerone. We now move on to open public comment.
Mr. President, if I might, just a sec.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, too, I haven't done a sports update in a while, and give congratulations to both the CB West football and field hockey teams for both making the state semifinals in their sports. And also, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to our public safety agencies. Between the police department and the fire department over the past couple of months have been pretty extraordinarily busy, especially the fire company, which is all volunteer, has had some of the most unusual and taxing runs in their history. And they deserve a lot of credit for everything that they've done over the past couple of months.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Open public comment. Do we have?
We have two folks signed up for open public comment. First, we have Richard Thames from Maple Avenue for general public comment.
Thank you very much. The last time I spoke to you people, I spoke specifically to complain about one councilman who I did not name. That man is Joe Frederick. He behaved improperly then. He called my wife a Nazi then. I didn't name him, but everybody here knew who I was talking of. Since then, we had a very, very combative election sequence. The Republican Party manned a table at the farm market every week from July on, usually without any problems. However, a number of people insisted on calling us names. They made racial slurs against our volunteers, some of whom are Chinese immigrants, all of whom are citizens, none of whom were paid. They were here to fight communism. They understand what it looks like. People were screaming at them. Mr. Frederick, who I will name as the first time, yelled at them also.
Whoa.
Wait, let me finish. In addition to that,
Hold on. Joe, stop it.
I will. While door knocking, he attacked one of the residents of the borough who had a Trump sign out in front and told him that he had to remove it. They told him to go away. He then yelled a homophobic slur at them because they're two men who live together. They happen to be brothers. This is improper, incompetent, poor, bad, and unfit for anyone representing anybody in a position of responsibility in this borough. Now, you called my wife a Nazi. The hell with that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. She's not lying. You would like to ask her?
You did.
You can't engage.
In addition to that, you then attacked residents of the borough who live together and happen to be brothers, and you made a homophobic slur against them. I have always loved Mayor West. The last time she spoke, I agreed with her then. I agreed with her statement today. It would be nice if people in this council acted to control some other members. They are unfit. Now, I'm also happy to say my job and the other volunteers of my party took Pennsylvania Republican, we took the county Republican, and then the county commissioners decided to ignore the vote and the law. They were slapped down hard today by the Pennsylvania State Supreme Court. They deserve to go to jail. other people that deserve other things. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Thames.
May I respond to that, Mr. President?
No.
We have Christine Longshore, also of Maple Avenue.
I'm Christine Longshore from Maple Avenue, and on June 14, Joe Frederick did call me a Nazi on Court Street. The person with me at the time was the very sweet old man, Tom Lingenfelter, also not a Nazi. I'm married to a Jewish man. Those are words of hate speech from a member of Borough Council. He pulled up next to us in his truck on Court Street. I was walking down Court Street, and he waved a giant Biden-Harris flag out the window and called us Nazis. Richard reported it to Borough Council, and no one reached out to me. No one did anything about it. No one apologized. It wasn't until Joe Frederick's sign on Election Day calling Trump a fascist and saying to shoot protesters and misspelling democracy when he wrote democracy dead that I reported to Borough Council. Did my own rep, Amy Taylor Plotkin, reach out to me and apologize on his behalf. Lucky for me, she's Quaker and also married to a Jewish man, so she must have realized how hateful that word was. To hear you lie and say you didn't do it is disgusting. You are not someone you should be on Borough Council representing this town. Bucks County is already all over national news for shutting down the Board of Elections early, during the early voting period, and not allowing people to come through the line to cast their votes. The Republicans had to sue to get the Board of Elections open to allow people to vote early. And now Diane Marseglia has gotten us on national news again by saying, oh, it's just a precedent. We can never mind the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. I think that Noni's words in her proclamation in June about getting along should apply to all people, especially our members of Borough Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. We are going to go into executive session. I believe we may have an action coming out of it.
We may take an action after executive session. Andrew will announce what we're going into executive session for. Matter of litigation.
There's two litigation matters that we're going to discuss in executive session. One is an ongoing enforcement action for violations under the Uniform Construction Code. The second involves a May 1st, 2024 appeal of a zoning hearing board decision pertaining to 57 West Court Street. That proposal was for a hotel event space and restaurant at that property. The borough did intervene in that matter, but remained neutral. So we just intervened as a matter of right to watch the proceedings. The two residents that filed the zoning hearing board appeal have entered into a settlement agreement with the applicant to limit the event space to 100 seats. So there is no obligations or action that's being undertaken by the borough, but we are going to discuss just the conclusion of that litigation in executive session.
Thank you. And,
I just want to say, this is one of the largest crowds we have ever seen to hang out and do this. The 109th year of lighting this Christmas tree, and there is not standing room to be found. Ladies and gentlemen, give yourselves a huge round of applause for making this the largest tree lighting in D-Town history. I think we have some special guests. We are ready for some magic.
That's exciting. Okay, what if we start with a pretty hard song and then we'll end with one that everybody will know? There'll be actual real life people. It'll be totally strange. Wow, am I so ready for this change? 'Cause for the first time in forever, there'll be music, there'll be light. For the first time in forever, I'll be dancing through the night. Don't know if I'm elated or gassy, but I'm somewhere in that zone. 'Cause for the first time in forever, I won't be alone. Oh my goodness.
The whole town wants to know.
Yes, well, what is it, pal?
Why haven't you taken one gift? Is it because you love us now and you've changed your mind and now this is the greatest town in history?
That couldn't be further from the truth. Although I really find Doylestown to be charming, I've got to say, I do really like you people.
Santa Claus! Santa Claus! Santa Claus!
Santa, how are you?
Outstanding! What a great night! Santa just loves the crowd. Wow! I have to say, this is such a fantastic night. Let's hear it, everybody. Merry Christmas!
All right, you get up there. You get up in that loader so we can do this, Santa. We're going to turn the lights off. All right, so that light's going to go off. It's going to get dark for a second, but 5,000 LED lights are going to fire on and illuminate this town like never before. All right, there's one light. We got one more to go. Oh, this is wonderful. Santa, are you ready, sir?
We're ready.
Santa, it's on your call, sir.
Okay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Beautiful! Santa, how good does it look from up there?
It looks beautiful. What a beautiful tree.
Everybody want to say thank you to Santa on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
You're welcome.
Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. Open up the hole. We're coming through. Coming through.
I want to thank you guys for all coming out tonight. It has been such a marvelous evening. The largest we've ever had in this town. Thanks to all of you guys. And from the bottom of all our hearts, thank you for making this possible.
Yes, this is it, my hometown. The place we as members of this community call home and from time to time leave it for elsewhere. But this is home sweet home to us. They say every town has its main street. Well, this is ours. We built it with civic pride and remain proud of its dignity and friendly, tolerable characters. We feel safe and are very proud of our municipal government. For through this force, our town is kept in order and we are protected from unlawful and disrupting influences. It's a mighty good feeling to know that they're always on the job to make our town a good place in which to live. The fathers and mothers in our hometown are just plain, nice living folks. The kind you read about in storybooks. You know, Main Street folks who say, hello, nice morning, even when it rains on Mondays. You see, we really are the folks folks in other nations would like to change places with. These civic-minded familiar faces we all know in my hometown think our town is something to shout about. Don't you? Let's call on some of our business firms and see what they're doing to help make our lives more pleasant. Let's see how they work to give us the best the markets have to offer. Their purpose is to please you, to fulfill your desires and needs, to keep you well dressed, to keep your homes well furnished so that you may maintain your place in society. They're always there to greet you with a friendly smile and give you the best possible service. You have the assurance of their dependability because they are one of us in the permanence of our community.
Outstanding for the many achievements in the record of service to this community are the businessmen, be they large firms or the small retailer. They are the folks that fulfill a very definite, important function in this community. As a group, the merchants are leaders in every civic project advanced and undertaken for the benefit of the community as a whole. As a group, they pay for the privilege of serving the consumer with a substantial portion of taxes which the city uses to provide the various services which all citizens enjoy. The merchant helps in many more ways. They scour the markets for all available merchandise, stocking their shelves with thousands of various items to fill your daily needs. Furthermore, they furnish employment to untold number of families that make possible their livelihood. They help make your life easier, your home life happier, and your recreation more enjoyable by serving you better. Our local merchants are more than a valuable asset towards the growth and progress of our community. They can be counted upon to participate in every movement that means progress. As a civic-minded citizen, you owe it to yourself and your family and to this community to favor your hometown merchant. Money spent in town works for you as well as the community. Be loyal, buy at home, and derive the satisfaction that comes from doing things the right way.
Our service clubs might well be called the backbone of our town, for it's through them that our business and social activities are welded together. Their noble and unselfish efforts are aimed at making ours a better town in which to live. Through these clubs, many a good deed has been bestowed upon our fellow man. We are proud of our excellent schools that provide for the education of our children, proud of their part in preparing our youths to face the future. Our schools are properly organized with able staffs educated to guide and help these future young men and young women of tomorrow. Someone once said, cleanliness is next to godliness. Well, here...
Your new nickname is Second. Today was one of those days. You're Bob Second. I know. Or Segundo. Just watched movie Big Night. Have you ever seen the movie Big Night with Stanley Tucci? Well, he was Segundo.
I just want to say, this is one of the largest crowds we have ever seen to hang out and do this. The 109th year of lighting this Christmas tree, and there is not standing room to be found. Ladies and gentlemen, give yourselves a huge round of applause for making this the largest tree lighting in D-Town history. Santa Claus tonight? I think we have some special guests. We are ready for some magic.
That's exciting. Okay, what if we start with a pretty hard song, and then we'll end with one that everybody will know. They'll be actual real-life people. It'll be totally strange. Wow, am I so ready for this change? 'Cause for the first time in forever, there'll be music, there'll be light. For the first time in forever, I'll be dancing through the night. Don't know if I'm elated or gassy, but I'm somewhere in that zone. 'Cause for the first time in forever, I won't be alone. Oh my goodness.
The whole town wants to know.
Again. Yes, well, what is it, pal?
Why haven't you taken one gift? Is it because you love us now and you've changed your mind and now this is the greatest town in history?
That couldn't be further from the truth. Although I really find Doylestown to be I do really like you people.
Santa, how are you?
Outstanding! What a great night! Santa just loves the crowd. Wow! I have to say, this is such a fantastic night. Let's hear it, everybody. Merry Christmas!
All right, you get up there. You get up in that loader so we can do this, Santa. We're going to turn the lights off. All right, so that light's going to go off. It's going to get dark for a second, but 5,000 LED lights are going to fire on and illuminate this town like never before. All right, there's one light. We got one more to go. Oh, this is wonderful. Santa, are you ready, sir?
We're ready.
Santa, it's on your call, sir.
Okay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yay! Beautiful! Santa, how good does it look from up there?
It looks beautiful. What a beautiful tree.
Everybody want to say thank you to Santa on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
You're welcome.
Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. Open up a hole. We're coming through. Coming through.
I want to thank you guys for all coming out tonight. It has been such a marvelous evening. The largest we've ever had in this town, thanks to all of you guys. And from the bottom of all our hearts, thank you for making this possible.